How dreadful and painful are the words, "I do not feel loved." With those words, sometimes our breath implodes, our heart seems to stop, our life can grow dark. I think that all of us have felt that way at one point or another. I know that I have, growing up as a teenager and even younger. I may have been loved. In fact, I probably was loved far more than I realized, but I didn't notice it. The question then is, how can we, each of us, feel loved in our lives? When I was loved and didn't notice it, it was unfortunate. It's quite frankly a byproduct of being a young person and then a teenager. We grow up, and even when we are loved copiously, it's quite often that we expect love to arrive in a different way. At the same time, it's also true that many people have been in situations where they were not loved very much at all by other human beings, where they were raised in tragic situations with no parents, with horrible parents, in slavery type situations, in utter and dire poverty. For whatever reason we may have as our background, whether we come from a background of wealth or a background of poverty or somewhere in between, we as human beings want to feel loved by others. We want to feel love welling up in our hearts. And if the well is dry, it's very hard to function. So to me, one of the very first things that we can work on in our lives is to start to notice the moments that we are being loved. For me, the operative word is notice. We need to notice when we're loved by other humans. We need to notice when we're loved by the universe, when we're loved by nature all around us, when we're loved by the source of all life. In my words, I would say when we're loved by God. It's important to notice. How can we notice those things? Sometimes they come to us in unexpected ways. Sometimes love is expressed to us in ways that we didn't think about or want, or an unexpected gift, but it wasn't the gift that we were expecting. So gratitude plays an important part in noticing when we were loved, when we are loved. The expectations of how love must come to us is something that harms us more than just feeling open to receive love in every single way that it comes. The late Stuart Wilde, a British author and spiritualist, wrote in his book, "The Trick to Money is Having Some." Yes, it's a book about money, but it contained this little gem that I found. He wrote, "To make every little thing special is to grant a magical quality to your life. Once your life becomes charmed in such a way, whatever blocks you may have experienced in the past melt in the light of that inner energy pouring from your heart." To make every little thing special is very important to me, because we're surrounded by moments of love that we simply don't notice. Think about the forms that love can take. First of all, I think that beauty is a form of love. When a child creates a drawing for his or her father or mother or relative or friend, that child is expressing love. "Mummy, here's a picture of a tree I drew." It may not be a very nice tree, it might be a pretty ugly tree, but the child drew it. And when the mother looks at that tree, that picture of that tree, then the mother can feel the love coming from that child in that tiny little expression of beauty in the picture. In the same way, we're surrounded by beauty. When's the last time you looked at a sunset? Really, really looked at a sunset. Just sat there and just drank it in and looked at this glorious panoply of colors, thinking, my goodness, where did that come from? Who made that? Was that made for my joy? I believe so. When is the last time we stopped in our busy lives and just looked at the flowers growing all around us? One day I went out and looked at an iris by the mailbox, and I thought, wow, what a beautiful iris. Now we live in an area surrounded by trees, and we have lots and lots of birds, even owls. And the birds are just hopping all over our lawn. There's mourning doves that come in flocks of 5 or 6. They're beautiful creatures. When I look at them, I think, those are expressions of love by the creator of those birds for me. Who else? I'm the one looking at them. I feel love from those beautiful things. Whether it's artwork or sunset or birds or trees, you know, tree huggers are kind of laughed at. But when's the last time you went up to a tree and placed your hand on it and just felt that tree breathe? Trees are magnificent creatures. We have a glade of trees in our backyard, and I sit there and I look up at the sky. It's like a cathedral of leaves with the sun dappling through the leaves. I feel loved when I stand there and look up at those leaves. The other day I was even looking at a blade of grass in the back field. It was about waist high, and the top of the grass was about 4 or 5 or 6 inches, and it was like a piece of wheat, but it was grass. And I brushed my hand across it and I looked at it for a moment and I thought, you're a beautiful blade of grass. You're just very, very special. And it was a little moment. Those are moments of beauty, but they're also moments of love where we can feel love from the creator of those things. Dame Edith Sitwell, the 20th century British poet, wrote in her poem, How Many Heavens, in the volume The Canticle of the Rose, the emeralds are singing on the grasses, and in the trees the bells of the long cold are ringing. My blood seems changed to emeralds like the spears of grass beneath the earth, piercing and singing. The flame of the first blade is an angel piercing through the earth to sing, God is everything. The grass within the grass, the angel and the angel, flame within the flame, and he is the green shade that came to be the heart of the shade. That's a beautiful poem, and it perfectly expresses to me how much love is expressed to us in nature. And of course, human beings do love us. One day I was taking a nap, and a friend of mine just came up and covered me with a blanket. It was a tiny little moment. I opened one eye and I saw the friend covering me with a blanket, and I'll never forget that. My friend probably doesn't remember it at all, but it was an expression of love. It was a brief, tiny little moment of love. When we start to notice these things, when we start to feel grateful for every single one of these moments of love that we do recognize, we do notice, we do receive, when we start to remember them, we start to build up a storehouse of wealth, a storehouse of treasure, of moments of love that begins to fill our soul. And the more we notice them, the more we want to notice them, the more we can notice them, the more we become attuned to the beauty and love all around us, it becomes an amazing tapestry of love where we just think, oh, I'm being loved today. And then when a human being smiles at us or someone says, thank you for your work, we can receive it with the gratitude that it deserves, because it really is a good thing that we're receiving. And then when we're loved more and more and more, we feel joy more and more and more. Now, of course, we're not always loved as much as we would like. Parents and children sometimes don't get along. Friends break up. Marriages can fail. But even with tragedy in our lives, even with economic burdens in our lives, even with stress of work or anything like that, if we change our channel to the channel where we can receive and recognize and perceive the love that is all around us, in spite of difficulties, in spite of stress, we will feel love more and more and more. It's a mathematical certainty that numbers are infinite. Think about that. No matter how large the number is, you can always add one more. And in the same way, no matter how many moments of love we've received, there will always be one more moment of love. Always. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel and leave a comment below. Most of all, may we all be inspired by the infinite moments of love that will come to us in our lives. Thank you.